Hi, my name is Danielle, and I'm going to be teaching part of the Citizenship Test with Sharina and Shasta. I will be teaching reading and writing, those two parts of the Citizenship Test. So at the bottom of my video in the description section, I have a link for you to click, and it will take you to where you can find flashcards, the vocabulary lists, and also some other resources to help you study for the citizenship test other than just this video that I'm making. And if you want, you can print out the flashcards, or you can print out the vocabulary lists and you can look at them as we go through the vocabulary together. So, I will be teaching you how to pronounce and write all the words for both the reading and the writing vocabulary sections. For the reading section, when you take the test, what will happen is a computer will put together 3 different sentences, and each of those 3 sentences will have words made only from the vocabulary lists for the reading section. So, you will have to read out loud 3 different sentences, but you only have to read 1 correct to pass the reading section of the test. The same goes for the writing section. The writing also has its own list of vocabulary words. Many are the same as the reading. For the writing section of the test, the computer will come up with 3 different sentences, and the person who is giving you the test will read each of those 3 sentences out loud. You will have to write all 3 sentences, and you need to get them correct. So spelling and grammar needs to be correct. Now, out of the 3 sentences for the writing section of the test, you only have to write 1 of the 3 sentences correctly. So, for this video today, what I'm going to be going through with you are the people, places, and holidays sections for both the reading and writing vocabulary. And I will also go through some grammar as well, but we will mostly work on how to pronunciate these words so that when you take the reading section of the test, you will know how to pronunciate them yourself. But when you take the writing part of the test, you will know what the words sound like as somebody's reading them to you. So, let's start practicing. Adams. This is the name, or part of the name, of one of the presidents of the United States. So when this word gets read out loud to you, you will most likely hear President Adams. So when you write this word, Adams, you'll want to remember that it is a name, which means that the first letter of this name should be, we'll write that better, should be capitalized as a big A, not a little a. Big A. So, it's pronounced like this. Adams. Adams. And what you'll hear is that this A actually sounds like a U. Adams. 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 President Adams. Abraham Lincoln. This is the name of another president of the United States. That means that the first letters of each word needs to be capitalized. So, big A, not the little a, and big L, not the little l. Always. Abraham Lincoln. So pronouncing these words is a little different in that you have Abraham. So you actually don't hear Abraham, you hear Abraham. Most Americans don't pronounce that A. Abraham. Abraham. So Abraham. 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 Now his last name, Lincoln. Lincoln. And you might notice that there's another letter that also does not get pronounced in this word, and that's the L. Lincoln. And if you listen carefully, Lincoln, it sounds like there is a G at the end of L-I-N. So Lincoln. 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 So Abraham Lincoln. George Washington. This is another name of an American president. This is the name of the first president of the United States. Because it's a name, you need to make sure that the first letters are capitalized. So, in George, always the big G, not the little g. And for Washington, always the big W and not the little w. So for pronunciation, you have George, which means you're going to do the j sound. Jor. You don't pronounce the E. George. George. And you don't pronounce this E either. So, George. 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 Now Washington is his last name. Wash. Wash. Ing. Ton. Wash. Ing. Ton. And if you notice, this O, once again, sounds kind of like a U. Wash. Ing. Ton. Ton. Now, depending on which state in the United States you're taking this test in, some people add an R here. So it sounds like Warshington. Washington. But most Americans say Washington. Washington. George Washington. Alaska. This is the name of a state in the United States. Alaska. Because it's a name, you need to remember to capitalize the A. So big A, not the little a. Always the big A. Alaska. So la-ska. And you'll notice that there's different sounds for the A's. A, a, a. A, la, ska. Alaska. 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 California. This is the name of a state in the United States. Because it's a name, you need to make sure that you have the big C and not the little c. Always the capital C. So, Cal-i-forn-ya. You'll notice that this I actually sounds like a Y. Cal-i-forn-ya. 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 California. 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 Canada. Canada. So, once again, this is the name of a country. This is the country that is north or above the United States. So because it's a name, you want to remember to capitalize the C. You want the big C, not Canada. Not Canada. A. 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 Canada. 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 Delaware. Delaware is the name of a state in the United States. So, because it's a name, you have to remember to capitalize the first letter. Capitalize the D. So big D and not the little d. Always the big D for Delaware. Now the way to pronounce this is Del-a-ware. So this, once again, sounds like a U. And it's not Delaware. You don't pronounce the E. Del-a-ware. Where. It sounds like the word where, like this. Where. Del-a-ware. Del-a-ware. Delaware. 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 Mexico. So, this is the name of the country that is south of the United States, so below the United States. Because this is a name, you need to remember to capitalize the M. So uppercase M, not the little m. Always the uppercase. Now the X here does not sound like an H. Huh. No. It sounds like X. X. So the way you pronounce this, X, I, co. X, I, co. Mexico. Mex. Mex. Ico. Mex. Ico. Mexico. 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 New York City. Now, as I'm sure you know, New York is a state in the United States. Now, in New York is a city called New York City. So, remember that for names, you want to capitalize the first letter. Always the big letters. So, new, and you'll hear kind of an A at the end. New, New, York, your, York, York City. Now this is interesting because in America, most Americans pronounce their T as a D. So you will most likely not hear New York City. You'll hear New York City. New York City. City. So New York City. City. D. City. New York City. City. New York City. New York City. Washington. So earlier in this video, you did see Washington. You saw George Washington. That is the name of a president. This, Washington, is a state. And you will often hear it referred to as Washington State, so that you know that you're talking about the state of Washington and not the person or the capital of the United States, Washington, D.C. This is Washington State. So, all the same rules apply. Because it's a name of a state, you need to have the big W and not the little w. And it's still pronounced the same. Washington, and you may hear Washington. Washington, or Washington State. Washington, D.C. This is the name of the capital of the United States. The capital of the United States of America. So, because it's a name, all the same rules still apply. Big W, not the little w. It's still pronounced Washington. Washington. Now, what you really need to remember is this comma and these periods. You have to use these. Very, very important. So, Washington, comma, D, period, C, period. If you do not use this grammar, you will fail writing that sentence. So Washington, comma, D, period, C, period. Washington, comma, D.C., period, period. Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. America. This is one of the names for our country. You will hear Americans refer to our country as America. Or you might also hear them refer to our country as the United States. Both names work. You can also hear the United States of America. So, America. This is a name. So make sure you spell it with the big A and not the little a. Sounding like a U. Mer, I, ka. Mer, I, ka. America. 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 United States. So as I just said, this is another name for our country, the United States, or the United States of America. So, because this is a name, remember that you need to use the upper case, not the lower case. So the big U and the big S, always, because it's a name. So, this is another instance where the T is going to sound like a D. Dead. 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 United. Stay. 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 Tss. You don't say the E. It sounds like T-S. So, tss, 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 tss. United. Stay. States, like that. United States. So lots of S. United States. United States. United States. United States. United States. U.S. So, the United States starts with a U and an S. So, you will hear many Americans refer to our country in short as the U.S., meaning the United States. Now, if the person reading to you for your test says the U.S., this is what you need to write. Capital U and a capital S. And always remember the periods. U period, S period. So when you write, it should go U period, S period. The U.S. U.S. The U.S. You'll hear this. The U.S. U.S. President's Day. President's Day. This is a holiday in the United States celebrating our current and all of our past presidents. Because it's a name, remember to use the uppercase and not the lowercase. Big P and big D. Also, another part of grammar that's important to this word is the apostrophe. And that is this little swipe, like this, that goes after the S. So when you write it, it will look like President, and then you write the S, and then you write this after the S. That's very important. If you do not write this, if you forget to write this, it will be wrong. So let's pronounce it. President's Day. Pre, p, p, pre, z. And you'll notice that this S sounds like a Z. Pre, z, dent, s. And there's the S. S. Pre, z, dents, duh, duh, dents. Pre, z, dents. There's that TS again. S. Pre, z, den, presidents, 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 presidents. And this is pretty easy. Day, d-a, d-a. And you'll hear that little A at the very end of this here. D-a, day, day, day. President's Day. President's Day. President's Day. Memorial Day. This is another holiday in the United States. So, because it's a name, we have to remember to use the capital and not the lowercase. Capital D, capital M. Big M, big D. All right, so memorial. Mem, eh. Mem, mem, or E sounds like an E. Mem, or E, ul sounds like a U. So, mem, or E, ul. Mem, or E, ul. Memor, memor, eel. Memor, eel. Memor, eel. Memorial. 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 And day is pronounced just the same as President's Day. Day. And you'll hear that little A at the very end of the Y. Day. Day. Memorial Day. Memorial Day. Memorial Day. Memorial Day. Memorial Day. Flag Day. This is another holiday in the United States. Because it's a name, we use the uppercase and not the lowercase. always the big D, always the big F. So, flag. F-L-A-G. F-L-A-G. Full, ag, flag, flag, flag. And day is the same. Day, flag, day, flag, day, flag day, flag day, flag day. Independence Day. This word's a long one, so we'll take our time. So Independence Day is a holiday in the United States. So because it's a name, we use the capital I and the capital D, not the lowercase I and not the lowercase d. So, Independence Day. In D pen den s. You don't pronounce this E. Now if you notice, each of the E's have a different sound. So D pen den. E pen den. D pen den. So in D pen den s. That S. S. In D pen den s. Independence. 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 Independence Day. And we're familiar with this word. We've seen it a lot so far. So, day, day. Independence Day. Independence Day. Independence Day. Independence Day. Independence Day. Labor Day. This is another holiday in the United States. So, it's a name. And we know what to do with the names by now. It's capital L and capital D, not lowercase l and not lowercase b. So, Labor Day. Labor. So you don't pronounce this O. Labor. Labor. Burr. Labor. Labor. labor, labor, day, Labor Day, Labor Day, Labor Day. Thanksgiving. This is another holiday in the United States. So, because it's a name, you need the uppercase T and not the lowercase t. Uppercase T only. So, Thanksgiving. You'll notice it sounds like there's a G in between the N and the K. V. V. They. Vang. 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 X. X. Thanks. Thanks. Give. Give. V. V. Give. Ing. You'll hear a little bit of an A at the end of that. Ing. Ing. Thanks. Give. Ing. Thanks. Giving. Thanks. Giving. Thanks. Giving. Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving.